So I picked up one of these 3-in-1 machines. This one is actually from Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight I know gets a bad rap for like a one and done type tool, but some of their bigger stuff is actually pretty decent. This 3-in-1, it's a 30-inch machine. It's a slip roll, shear, and finger brake. You could actually compare it to ones that Eastwood and some of the other companies sell at about half or less the price. I read a lot of reviews. I actually know someone who owns one of these. And for just doing real light stuff, it's good. They say up to about 20 gauge steel, and I think similar in aluminum, it might be 18 in aluminum. It does a decent job. I'd love to have a full machine shop, but I don't want to take up all that space with larger tools right now. So this one will do just fine for all the little stuff we need to do when we're messing around with some of these cars. So I bought the machine, built a stand for it, and as you can see on either side of it, I bought Eastwood shrinkers, or a shrinker and a stretcher. So since we tend to, or at least I tend to do a decent amount of work on older cars, 30s, 40s, 50s, I thought those would be nice to have just for doing some smaller stuff like around window openings and wheel wells and whatnot. So yeah, so this is the stand I made. Again, as tends to be the case, I had some scrap steel sitting around, so I used the different sizes that I had. I thought you guys might be interested in it. This top bar, the stand itself is 48 inches wide, so from end to end it's 48 inches. I gave myself again a little bit of room for the shrinker and the stretcher. It is 15 inches deep, so from edge to outside edge it's 15 inches. And then from the floor, the base of the floor up to where the unit mounts is 28 inches. So that gives me a pretty good leverage point for when I'm working with materials. You want to be able to just slide something in right here so that you can put pressure on the handle, which is up here, and the handle is adjustable based on this little set screw right here, or you can put it on the other side, or you can get another handle and put one on each side. But that seemed to be a pretty good height. So I did that. I had some 1.5 inch square tube for the top, some 1 inch square tube that I used for my angle pieces, and then these legs are actually really beefy. They're like 2x6. They're enormous. You don't need that. It's overkill, but again, I had it, so I just used those, and then I didn't have to worry about putting really any other bracing in because, hell, they're almost touching. So that's what I did. A couple cross braces in the middle, 1 inch tube just in between the front and the back where the unit mounts. There happened to be one in there because this was for something else that wasn't finished, so then I just kind of modified it to make this thing fit. And then I used a couple of the cutoff pieces of the legs to mount the shrinker and the stretcher on either side. These ones, again, they're about 6 inches, so I wanted something that got me higher than the deck where you would cut anything else, and it gives me enough room. You can see got a little room for the handle sitting down here too, that I can just put this in. It's not going to get in the way of anything, and then you have plenty of room out here on the outside, front to back, to run longer pieces of metal through it. If I were doing it again, I might actually take this piece and turn it so it's facing front to back. The handle would point out the back, and then you'd have room in the front here to work with your metal. Originally I was going to do that. I thought this would give me more room on the side. It's just real close with this handle. I thought about changing it, but it'll be fine. So yeah, if you were doing it from scratch, I would probably change it, and I would probably move this, twist it in, still keep it up this high so you have plenty of clearance all the way around, but keep it front to back so that you have more room to move this handle up and down and give you a little bit more leverage. And the other thing that I did, I put a set of wheels on it to make it easier to get around. And these, I just got some angle, again, some scrap pieces that I had, a couple heavier duty casters again from Harbor Freight, and if you could see it, I put them on a slight angle. So literally I built the whole machine, got it all level, or the whole stand, got it all level, and then I put the wheels down here against the floor, and then I figured out the angle that I would need. I forget, it was only like a 10-degree angle or maybe a little bit less, so that whenever the machine is tilted, or whenever the base is tilted up, then the wheels would be straight up and down. They'd be perpendicular to the ground. That way you're putting all the pressure straight down on that center bolt and on the wheel, so it doesn't want to try to shear it off. So when you lift it up, like I said, these go to level, the mounts go pretty much level, the wheel tilts up, it's perpendicular to the ground, and it rolls real nice. Literally all I do is just grab the handle or the edge of the the edge of the frame right here, just lift it up and I could walk with it. So that's it. So that's the stand. It was super easy again to build, fairly easy. Did take probably a couple of hours by the time it got all cut and welded. And yeah, as you can see, you could actually see all the welds and everything. I just clear coated it. I was going to paint it with some Zero Rust, but it's in my garage. I thought that would be kind of cool to clear coat it, just kind of give it that industrial look. So I cleared it and that's it. So in the next video, we'll actually show this machine so that you can see what it does, how it performs with different gauge metal. You can decide for yourself then if you wanted to pick up something like this for around 300 some bucks, or if you want to go spend the 800,000, 1,500, 2,000, whatever you want to spend on quote a nicer machine. Again, ideally it would have been great to get a separate machine that's heavier duty for each of these tasks, but for the space that this takes up and what we're going to be doing with it, this thing should perform really well. One note though, and I'll say this in the next video too, whenever you get any of these machines, make sure you go through the instructions and get it all set up properly, because there is some adjustment, especially once you get it mounted. You want to make sure the blade's straight and in the right place and everything, so that when you're cutting you get a nice parallel cut there. So that's it. So that's the stand, that's the 3-in-1 machine, the shrinker and the stretcher all mounted to it. And like I said, we'll shoot another video here so that you can see how the machine performs, how that 3-in-1 machine performs, and we'll go from there.